and welcome to Gardening 365 50 Now, for the last few days, in fact the last week, we've had an awful lot of rain and things have changed a little bit. First one is our duck pond is incredibly full of water, which is good I suppose in one sense, and I would go closer, but as you can see there's two wild male ducks just flown in, so I'm not going to disturb them. Some of the wild ducks are more friendly than others. Some of them I can go sort of pretty close to them, but I know these two, they're not as friendly as some of the others, and they will fly off if I go any closer. Now there's the old garden saying of the gardens need it rain wise, and I think these possibly did. And I actually on Friday put some things out because I knew the rain was coming and they would bed in best, so I've put these out. These are a mixture of kohlrabi and I think there's a pak choi, the one in the middle at the front. I also put some cauliflowers and calabrese where the purple sprouting's coming out. There's a few left in there, they're the last ones, and we'll probably have the last meal of those tonight, and then they'll come out and I'll finish planting brassicas in that end bit. Now the rain's been pretty good for my little cottage garden, as I call it, that I put in the last couple of weeks, and the reason why, with all the rain, it's already started to get the cardboard going well, so that'll rot down really well, kill all the weeds underneath it, and create a good ecosystem of soil underneath. Everything else in the raised bed area has really benefited from the rain. The potatoes probably need it, and the two end rows there have got fleece on because they're popping up. There's no frost forecasted this week, so I'll take that fleece off. And right down at the bottom at raised bed 1, this is what I had covered by my little homemade polytunnel. So I'll just show you a little bit closer now. These are the spring onions. I've got some spinach. I've got some chard. Some lettuce that are looking good, and I've got a lettuce ready now in the greenhouse, so these will be the first outdoor lettuce of the year. I've got some pak choi, and they look like they're being munched by something, so I'm going to have to do something about that, whatever that is. So I'll put some deterrent out for that. I've got some exhibition onions. These are the ones that grow into right whoppers. And at the bottom again I've got some kohlrabi and some pak choi. And these are my first outdoor potatoes. So breaking the surface now after I've moulded them up. The next row, there's one or two just starting to pop through, and there's a succession going all the way. And the row at the end I planted last week, so I've got possibly 1-2 more rows to put in, and this bed will be full, and hopefully not long after that these will be ready. Successional potatoes, very nice. Just having a look at our fruit trees. The cherry tree looks absolutely loaded, and these are edible cherries, so we're looking forward to these. Not a massive bush yet, but it will grow into a reasonable sized tree at some point. And there in the background, the old pheasants are having a bit of a dust up, as they usually do. Now they're into the head nodding. Again, I've got my camera on zoom from a bit of a distance, just not to, so I'm disturbing them. Apple tree, the blossom just starting to come out. This lower area's got plenty. I'm not seeing quite as much blossom towards the top. And the blackthorn, which produces sloes later in the year, it's got plenty of blossom on. You can see some of the sloes from last year that are rotted off. And as I say, then plenty of blossom on it. So we will have sloes this year, I'm certain of that. And this is one of the fruit trees that we moved last year in the autumn, and I'm pleased to say it's got blossom on it in a few areas. This is an apple tree, by the way, so I'm hoping this will bear its first fruit ever this year. Our second cherry tree has got blossom on, possibly not as much as the other one, and I'll hope to get some cherries off that as well this year. And just before I look at the rest of the fruit trees, see lots of people going out on walks looking for bluebells at the moment. We don't have to. We've got plenty that grow wild in our garden, and we just love them. Can't remember, I think this is a plum, but no blossom on this one. And this is either plum or cherry, and again no blossom. These that I've just shown you have all been moved in the last 12 months. This one is either plum or cherry, I believe. No blossom. And this one is apple, with quite a bit of blossom. And our second black thorn that we've got, we give this a really heavy pruning, which is not always recommended for wild trees, but we pruned it to keep it in order. And I said at the end of last year I didn't think this would have any fruit on this year, but it's got quite a bit of blossom, so I'm really hopeful we will get some slows off this year as well. And this is the pear tree that never seems to do any good, and the frost did take some of the blossom off it, but we have still got a little bit left, so hopeful again this could have some pears on later in the year. Still plenty of daffs. A lot have been sort of taken down by the rain that we've had recently, and it just shows you how our season's slightly different to everybody else's. We're that little bit later, okay, but we have to cope with that, it's where we live. And at the back we've got our two wild cherry trees, and I'm just going to take you a little bit closer to show you them. Got loads of blossom on, and these produce very small cherries with a big stone in them. You can see we've got a little bit of wind. And I love them, I do. They're not around for very long, the birds eat them. They're lovely to have in the garden. Down by the wildlife pond now. I'm just going to take you a little bit closer over there, because these are marsh marigolds and they are absolutely lovely, but they're coming towards the end now. And as I walk, you've got to be really careful now, because there's loads of wildflowers coming through here, and if you're not careful you can end up stepping on them. Now some are very obvious. These are cowslips, and ain't they beautiful? Love cowslips. I wish we had more. But as you walk in, there's some less obvious things growing, and these are yellow rattle, and these help deter the grass growing a little bit. But yellow rattle was absolutely lovely. One or two little bluebells growing around the wildlife pond as well. And if you look over there, I'm not sure what that wildflower is. I'll have a look a little bit closer. There's a couple of them actually. There's another one there, and I'm really not sure what it is, but I'll try and get that one identified. That is lovely. And there's the beautiful marsh marigold right at the edge of the pond. And as I say, that's past its best now and still looking really good. And this is our wild garlic area. And again, bluebells popping up over there. And this is a little bug area. This is just some of the wood we cut down when we was clearing this area, and we've just left it as it is to encourage wildlife to use it. And I'm really not sure what that is. I'm not sure if it's something Claire's planted or whether it's growing wild, but that looks like it's going to be lovely as well. We'll keep a watch on that one. So just walking past the splash pool that I created last year, and it takes us to what will become our wildflower meadow. And at the very end there's another bug house over there that we created. That's more for snakes actually, the things that eat the bugs. We haven't seen any snakes here yet, but fingers crossed, might see a grass snake. And I'm going to take you into the wildflower area and see if we can find anything. And just before I go in, right by our splash pool, I see a wild garlic coming up, and that's one that we haven't planted. Not sure what that is, but we'll keep an eye on it. Some more of those white flowers over there, they look lovely. Some little forget-me-nots. A few more over there. This is interesting, some bluebells. I don't know if they are bluebells actually. And some white bells by the side of them. Yeah, they're bluebells surely. And that flower stalk that's coming up is a camassa. That's been planted, that's not wild. But we like to mix some of our plants with wildflowers together. But I'll certainly come back into the wildlife area within the next couple of 3 weeks, and I'll show you progress here, because this is where this really will now start to take off. And as I walk up the bank, lots of foxgloves. All of these just grow wild. We just absolutely love them. So walking up, not seeing anything else much around here apart from lots of foxgloves. Still looking really nice. And as I get up to this next area, am I seeing? A few little shrubs, I think they're self-set. Walking up a bit more. And we go into more bluebells. It's lovely. And this is where we had, well, 3 of these areas where we had trees cut down last year, had them stump ground, and that's what they look like. And I would expect now, just like it's happening here, the bit by bit now, they'll just cover over with grass and you'll never know they've been there. So many thanks to our tree surgeon Nathan for doing those. They're looking good. And at the top of the garden now, on Lodge Bank, another area of bluebells, and if you notice, this isn't mown, so we leave them to grow, and obviously when they're finished we will then start mowing that area again. And plant of the week from a couple of weeks ago, dandelions. I wasn't sure about that being plant of the week, but yeah, they grow well in the garden and they can be used for making wine, and the leaves can be used in salads, and the roots can be used for roasting just like parsnips, but I'll leave those in the lawn. Back in Claire's flower garden now, around our patio area. Now I'm no flower expert, so I'm not going to tell you the names of all of these, but these I do know. This is a snake head fritillary, which is looking great, and those imperial fritillaries, and that one's just coming towards the end. For in this area, Claire's just trying to harden these off a little bit now. We've got roses, sweet peas, fuchsias, lupins. I'm testing myself here. We've got some clovery things there. We've got carnations, and over here, just coming to the end, these have been beautiful. We've got some really big tulips, and in the pot there's an acer growing. And this is Claire's flower garden, all mulched this year. Not looking great yet, it's just starting to come to life now, and this is beautiful when it grows. Yeah, all of these plants grow up to sort of waist height and they just look great. So we'll be covering the little flower garden around the patio over the next few weeks. And over on the old patio, Claire's got a beer barrel full of lilies. Personally, I'd love a beer barrel full of beer. And in another beer barrel, we've got some absolutely beautiful, really delicate tulips. But as you can see at the moment, the wind is troubling them. So overall, pretty pleased with the garden at the moment. The wildlife areas, the grass, the flower gardens, the fruit trees, and my vegetable plot. What I'm not too happy with is this weather, because I don't think we're far away from rain. Claire's dad gave us some old canes, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to use some of these for, and possibly them, the middle ones. Now here's another little great hack that you can use. I've put some of these old canes in, and now what I'm doing is I'm wrapping cotton around the outside of them. I'm not sure if you can see it. You see the cotton there? And what that will do is deter any birds that land. They'll just brush against the cotton and then hopefully fly off before they decide to have a munch. So the way I do it is pretty much like this. It reminds me a bit of the film Entrapment with Catherine Zeta-Jones going through the laser lights. That's what the birds have got to do. And another thing that birds love to munch on is young peas. So I'm going to put some of these peas now in the cottage garden. Okay, I must leave space over the beans, but I'm sure these won't fill this space up. And I'm in the greenhouse now. Now that rain was much needed, but unfortunately it fell a little bit too fast, too quick and too much, because my greenhouse is flooded. And that's the very last section that's on. There's no glass in there at all at the moment. And what's happened is the water has come down there, the rain so heavy that it's gone underneath and into this. So we're hoping when the glass is put into that last section that won't happen. But I'm never to miss an opportunity. So that water there has got a great use, but unfortunately it's in the wrong place at the moment. Now it may have been wet and horrible out all weekend, and it still is now. It's horrible, it's windy, and it looks like it's going to be rain soon, but I've got some good news to report. I've got my first tomatoes. Whoopee! And my wormery that I set up a couple of weeks ago has got plenty of life in it, which is good. And now I'm adding another layer on as well. And the biggest bonus of a wormery is the worm juice that comes out. There's plenty. And here's our latest wildlife addition. It's a bug house. I'm sure you've all seen those before, but this is a bug house with a difference, because underneath it doubles up as a bat box. So wouldn't it be great to have bats here as well, nesting in our property? And I'm a little bit light on soil there. So brassicas, especially purple sprouting, are very, very hungry for nutrients in the soil. So that's going to need something good in there. So I'm going to put some horse muck, and then I'll put some compost on top of there as well. Not digging it though, no dig. And that's a barrow load of horse muck. And from that horse muck I've got about half a jar of compost worms, and I wonder where they're going. Could be. And this is the latest level of my wormery. I've got ripped up cardboard, I've got some purple sprouting leaves, and on the top there I've got some tea leaves from tea bags, and I'm going to add the worms. Did a little hole for them to go in, and now I'm just going to tip them in and then cover them up. Happy munching, guys, enjoy your food. And I've just pulled the barrow out, and guess what I found? It's an egg. I wonder why it's there. I was collecting some soil, and as usual something's caught my eye. There's the first signs that we got strawberries this year, and this one next to it is exactly the same. So pleased with raised bed 6, and pleased with the progress of the strawberries. Well, that concludes Gardening 365 50. Many thanks for watching. As always, please subscribe to our Facebook channel, and please go across to our YouTube side, have a look at some of the videos on there. They're getting quite popular now, and if you do watch, please subscribe, please leave a comment, please let me know what you think, and also if you have any questions, please run them by me and I'll try and answer them in future videos. It's about 4 o'clock, just gone past now. I'm going to go in, and guess what, it's just started raining, so the timing's perfect. Okay, hope you enjoyed what you've seen this week. I'll see you next time for Gardening 365 51. Bye.